Have you ever checked your bank account on payday and felt a massive wave of relief? Half of it is already gone. You sit there staring at the screen, wondering how you managed to sabotage yourself again. You know the math. You know you should be saving. You know you need an emergency fund. Yet the second money hits your hands, it feels like it burns a hole in your pocket until you spend it. Society tells you this is a character flaw. Financial gurus scream that you lack discipline. They tell you that you are just weak. But I need you to listen to me very carefully right now. This is not a lack of willpower. You are not broken. You are operating exactly as human biology designed you to operate when raised in an environment of scarcity. My name is the Debt Algorithm Engine, and today we are going to dissect the invisible neurological tripwires that keep smart, capable people trapped in a chronic cycle of brokenness. We are going to look at the actual neuroscience of what growing up without money does to your nervous system. We call this the poverty brain, and until you understand how it controls your decisions, no budget app or spreadsheet will ever save you. Let us start with the fundamental architecture of your mind. Your brain has one primary directive: survival. For millions of years of human evolution, survival meant consuming resources the exact moment you found them. If you found a bush full of berries, you did not open a high-yield savings account for those berries. You ate them immediately, because if you left them for tomorrow, another animal would take them or they would rot. Your ancestors survived by treating every windfall as temporary and vulnerable. Now, fast forward to modern childhood. If you grew up in a household where money was tight, where the electricity sometimes got cut off, where a random car repair meant eating ramen for 2 weeks, your brain learned a very specific set of environmental rules. It learned that resources are unpredictable. It learned that money sitting around is money that can be taken away by an emergency or a bill collector. So your amygdala, the threat detection center of your brain, rewired itself to protect you. It adopted the exact same strategy as your hunter-gatherer ancestors: consume the resources before they disappear. When you buy that expensive dinner or that jacket you cannot afford, you're not being financially reckless. Your subconscious is literally cashing in chips before the casino burns down. You're eating the marshmallow because experience has taught you that the promised second marshmallow is a lie. You aren't protecting yourself. You are guaranteeing your own poverty. This psychological adaptation is brilliant for surviving a chaotic week, but it is absolutely catastrophic for building long-term wealth. Let that sink in for a moment. We need to talk about what behavioral economists call the bandwidth tax. A few years ago, researchers Senthil Mullainathan and Eldar Shafir conducted a groundbreaking study on the psychology of scarcity. They discovered that simply worrying about money consumes so much mental processing power that it actually drops your effective IQ by 13 points. To put that in perspective, losing 13 IQ points is the exact same cognitive drop you experience after going a full night without sleep. When your bank account is near zero, your brain enters a state of tunnel vision. It hyper-focuses on immediate threats, like how to pay the electric bill by Friday. And because it is dedicating all of its computing power to short-term survival, it literally shuts down the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain responsible for long-term planning and impulse control. You are not making bad financial decisions because you are unintelligent. You are making them because the cognitive burden of poverty has temporarily robbed you of your intelligence. This brings us to one of the most misunderstood psychological experiments in history, the Marshmallow Test. You probably know the story. Researchers put a child in a room with one marshmallow and told them if they waited 15 minutes, they would get 2. The children who waited supposedly went on to become more successful. Society used this to prove that wealthy people just have better delayed gratification. But modern neuroscience has completely debunked that narrative. When researchers recreated the test, taking into account the socioeconomic background of the children, they found something chilling. Kids who grew up in poverty almost always ate the first marshmallow immediately.
But it was not because they lacked discipline. It was because their lived experience taught them that adults break promises. In their world, a promised second marshmallow is a fantasy, but the marshmallow sitting in front of them is real calories. If they wait, the researcher might run out of marshmallows or another kid might come take it. Eating it immediately was the mathematically correct survival strategy for their specific environment. And this is exactly what you are doing with your paycheck today. When you get a bonus or a tax refund and immediately blow it on a depreciating asset like a car or designer clothes, your nervous system is screaming at you to secure the resource before it evaporates. Your brain does not trust the concept of compound interest because it has never seen a savings account protect you from a broken down transmission or an eviction notice. It only trusts what it can touch. This is the poverty brain in full control, and it is the exact mechanism that the modern economy exploits to keep you working forever.
We live in an economy that has heavily weaponized the poverty brain. Marketing departments and algorithm designers understand your neurological vulnerabilities better than you do. They know that if you grew up poor, you have a deep, unfulfilled desire to feel successful and safe. So they sell you products that mimic the visual markers of wealth. Luxury car leases, designer clothes financed on credit, and expensive watches. This is why the buy now, pay later industry is exploding. They offer you the immediate dopamine hit of acquiring a resource without the immediate pain of paying for it. To a brain wired for scarcity, an offer to get a $1,000 phone for 4 easy payments of $250 feels like a massive survival victory. You secured the high-value item today, and the future cost feels abstract and unreal. But the future always arrives, and when it does, it brings interest rates and late fees that keep you trapped in the exact same economic class you are trying to escape. They are monetizing your financial trauma. When you engage in what psychologists call revenge spending, buying things simply because you were deprived of them as a child, you are not healing your inner child. You are transferring your future wealth to a corporate shareholder. But here is the good news. The human brain is highly neuroplastic, which means it can be completely rewired. You can uninstall the poverty brain operating system and replace it with the wealth builder operating system. But it takes deliberate, conscious effort to override your biological programming. The first step to rewiring your financial nervous system is to artificially detach your spending from your emotions. You must implement absolute automation. When your paycheck hits your account, your poverty brain wants to figure out how to spend it. You cannot rely on willpower to stop this. Willpower is a finite resource, and a stressed brain has none left by 5 p.m. on a Friday. Instead, you must set up your accounts so that a percentage of your income disappears into an investment account the exact moment you are paid. Out of sight, out of mind. If you never see the money, your amygdala cannot panic about losing it. Your investments must become a black box. You do not track them daily. You do not look at the balance when you're stressed. You treat that money as if it has already been spent on the most important purchase of your life, your future freedom. The second step is redefining what safety feels like to your nervous system. Right now, your brain thinks safety equals holding a brand new product or seeing a zero balance on a layaway. You need to train it to realize that true safety equals liquid cash.
We need to talk about the psychology of the emergency fund. To a poverty brain, an emergency fund feels useless because it is invisible. You cannot wear it and you cannot drive it. But I want you to stop calling it an emergency fund. I want you to start calling it your nervous system regulator. When you have 3 months of living expenses sitting in a high-yield savings account, you are not just earning interest. You are buying the chemical state of calm. You are literally lowering your daily cortisol levels. When the car breaks down, your heart rate will not spike because your brain knows the threat is already neutralized. This brings us to the third step of the rewiring process, the mandatory delay protocol. The amygdala hijack, the urge to spend money immediately, only lasts for about 72 hours. After 3 days, your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain, powers back on. So you must create a hard rule. Any non-essential purchase over $100 goes onto a waiting list for exactly 72 hours. If you still want it after 3 days, you can buy it, but I guarantee that 80% of the time the chemical urge will have evaporated. You will look at the item and feel nothing. That feeling of nothing is your actual baseline. The intense desire you felt 3 days prior was just a trauma response masquerading as consumer preference. Let us go deeper into how you view debt. Poverty Brain teaches you to view monthly payments as normal. It asks, can I afford the monthly payment? But the Wealth Builder operating system asks a completely different question. It asks, how many hours of my finite life am I trading for this depreciation? When you finance a car at 9% interest because you need to feel successful today, you are volunteering for modern indentured servitude. You are giving your future labor to a bank simply because you could not tolerate the discomfort of driving an older car. The discomfort of looking poor is the exact price you must pay to become actually wealthy. You must learn to endure the aesthetic of struggle while you build the reality of freedom. Wealth is invisible. It is the money you do not spend, the cars you do not lease, the upgrades you refuse to make. Poverty Brain hates invisible wealth because it cannot be used to prove your worth to strangers. But true wealth doesn't care about strangers. True wealth cares about buying back your time. True wealth cares about making sure you never have to tolerate a toxic boss or a bad relationship just because you need the money to survive.
This requires a complete death of your former identity. You can no longer be the person who survives. You must become the person who accumulates. And I need to warn you that this is going to feel deeply uncomfortable at first, because if you grew up poor, your sense of community was likely built on shared struggle. There's a psychological phenomenon known as financial survivor's guilt. When you start keeping your money instead of spending it or giving it away to everyone who asks, your brain interprets this as abandoning your tribe. Your friends and family who are still operating on the poverty brain operating system will not understand what you are doing. They will tell you that you are being cheap. They will ask why you are driving a 10-year-old car when you just got a promotion. They will try to drag you back into the performance of wealth because your refusal to play the game forces them to question their own choices. You must be willing to let them misunderstand you. You must accept the loneliness of doing the right thing. Let us look at the behavioral economics concept of future self-continuity. Psychologist Hal Hirschfield conducted functional MRI scans on people while they thought about their present selves and their future selves. He found that for people struggling to save money, the brain activity when thinking about their future self was identical to when they thought about a complete stranger. The poverty brain literally does not care about the 65-year-old version of you because it treats that person as a stranger who might not even survive that long. You have to actively force a neurological connection. You have to look at your investment account and realize that you are not losing money today. You are handing it to your future self tomorrow. Every time you automate an investment, every time you enforce the 72-hour delay rule, every time you choose invisible security over visible status, you are performing neurosurgery on your own mind. You are healing the financial trauma of your past and building an unbreakable foundation for your future. The poverty brain is loud, but the math of compound interest is undefeated. But I need to warn you about what happens next. When you finally start fighting back against your biological programming, the initial process of accumulating capital is going to feel like absolute torture. Your nervous system is going to scream at you that hoarding cash is useless. And you need to know exactly why this happens, so you do not quit before the math starts working in your favor. Now that you understand why your brain is fighting you, you need to know exactly what to expect when you start fighting back. Click this video on the screen to see why saving your first $10,000 will feel like absolute hell and the exact mathematical point where it finally gets easy. I'll see you there.